Hello everyone and welcome back to Season 2 of Peay, Austin Peay's exclusive video game news and discussion show. For the first episode of this new season, we want to introduce you guys to the show and take a look at some of September's latest and greatest releases. We're looking forward to the new season, we hope you are as well, and to see what it has in store. Get ready to get nerdy, this is Peay. Hello and welcome back to Season 2 of Peay. I am your host, Brandon Crosslin. Alongside me is my two awesome friends in the business and co-host, Franklin Galan, and the new producer for this season, Haleigh Smith.
Hey everybody, thank you for having me.
I'm glad to be back for Season 2 and see new episodes unfold over the semester here. Ben Goodman, our former producer, graduated back in May, so now we have a new face taking over the reins. Haleigh, what are you most excited for taking over as producer?
I'm excited to delve a little further into the video game world. Last season I did a lot of behind the scenes stuff and kind of contributed in that aspect, so it's kind of nice to be on this end of it and see how the show's influenced and how we're going to take different ideas from crew members and the community here at Austin Peay. I want to get them more involved. So it's a new process, but I'm excited to take it over. This is new to me. I'm a senior here, so this is something that I've been wanting to do for a couple years now. So.
Also, you're somebody who's very passionate about this subject already, with a long history of enjoying the subject matter, and so really couldn't have asked for a better person to take over the job.
Yeah,
Completely agree.
Appreciate that, and just the broad spectrum of everybody liking different video games. I think that it's going to be nice to hear from different sides of that.
We come from very different worlds in this spectrum,
Look,
and which shows how diverse the community is.
Three worlds collide, or more worlds collide, I guess it was what's going to happen. So I'm excited though. We're going to have some fun stuff over the semester.
Cool stuff, cool stuff.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider is an action-adventure video game developed by Eidos Games and alongside Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix. It continues the narrative from the 2013 game Tomb Raider and its sequel, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and it's the 12th mainline entry in the Tomb Raider series. The game released worldwide on September 14th for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Set shortly after the events of Rise of the Tomb Raider, its story follows Lara Croft as she adventures through Mesoamerica and South America to the city of Paititi, battling the paramilitary organization Trinity and racing to stop a Mayan apocalypse she has unleashed. Lara must traverse the environment and combat enemies with firearms and stealth as she explores. Let's take a look.
Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held, but just ourselves and immortality. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible. The cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than a day.
By taking the key, you set the apocalypse in motion. Silver box. We can remake the world.
I won't let that happen. No one is safe!
This is the first of many catastrophes you're doing.
Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me.
So, that's the trailer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Well, guys, how do you think it really compares to the overall series? Lars had like a long run.
Yeah, it's 96, so
Yeah.
older than me. I think it's nice that they're giving it a new reboot, a refresh to the different kind of style and visuals that we see from the 90s. Obviously, technology has changed and graphics have gotten better. So it's nice to see, you know, the good aspect of it in that sense. I think, though, are we beating a dead horse at this point?
Possibly.
What do you mean by that?
I think that there's too much of a good thing. Like you said in the intro, it's the 12th mainline entry into the series.
I get that.
I think from a marketing perspective, this is a perfect time for them to come out with the Tomb Raider title, because it just seems like yesterday you and I, Franklin, were on The Verdict as guest stars talking about the latest Lara Croft movie that came out, if you recall.
Yeah.
And so to me, this just seems like a good marketing strategy to put out a new title to the series not long after the film, which is usually what
Yeah, because this is
normal practice.
This is the third one after the reboot. So they
Yeah.
had Rise before this, which
Oh,
was
really?
the second,
Yeah, yeah.
and then just Tomb Raider.
Yeah, so maybe a lot of saturation.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider, the 2013 game, that for a starting, like, it was the start of a new franchise, and I thought it was good for what it was. It could have been better. There wasn't really that many tombs in there, and then on top, not only that, it just felt a little bit too easy. So then, for a story standpoint, it did the job well, pretty much self-contained. Then we got Rise of the Tomb Raider about 2 years later in 2015. That just expanded a little bit more, I want to say, and I enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I just look at the Tomb Raider series as something that you can just play, you know, set a few hours for yourself, maybe just beat it in a weekend, and then just talk about it with
Is it
some
really
friends.
that easy?
It depends, because, well, there's a lot of exploration and side quests and other things you can do around there to just make it last a little bit longer. I've heard that the story in this game, it's about 10 to 12 hours, but exploring the world and seeing what it has. Because,
Certainly.
Yeah, it's set in Mesoamerica and part of South America, so there's a lot we could see on there, especially with these new consoles.
Is this a developer that takes a lot of focus on the world, the open world itself? And so, like, one of the main characters of the story is actually just exploring the world and between your objective points.
It's kind of a rude thing to really compare it to, but it's kind of like Uncharted in that sense.
Okay.
Lara's been around longer than Uncharted. We all know this, but the thing is,
Uncharted was probably inspired from titles like Tomb Raider.
yeah, but so many people view Uncharted more so than Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
except this game, like Uncharted, it's only gotten better. And I know this is a trilogy, but I want to see where it can go from this point on. Like, what's next? I know you guys are saying it's oversaturated, but
Tomb Raider mobile app. That's the next step.
I mean, there was a mobile game that came out a couple of years ago.
I would not be surprised.
Let's not go there. All right. Now, over to Brendan for an introduction into the latest hockey game to hit the ice, NHL 19.
NHL 19. Welcome back. Welcome back. NHL 19 is a hockey simulation video game developed by EA Vancouver and published by EA Sports. It's in the game. It was released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on September 14th, 2018. In this game, you go from pawn to the pros, earning XP to build your ranking, even featuring some online play. It's the 28th installment of the NHL video game series, and it will feature our very own Nashville Predators defenseman Peay Subban on the cover. While in Finland and Sweden's exclusive covers featuring Patrick Lane from the Winnipeg Jets and William Nylander from the Toronto Maple Leafs, respectively. Let's see how this one skates. Take a
For a lot of us, this is where it all began. Hockey was a way of life.
Welcome to my city, it's the only place I know. Gorillas rolling with me and we living by the code. No hope you forgive me, I don't know what you was told. But we was on the corner flipping, struggling the coast. I put that city on the map, put that city on my back, till I'm up with a milli on my lap. No time till I hit it to the lap. Stuck in the middle of nowhere, time to wish I could ditch and go there. Press the wish I'm depending on what I'm chilling for. I won't hit it more, yeah. Honestly, I'm not just anybody. I know I go hard as anybody. Say my goodbyes and hellos, cause all the roads lead home. All roads lead home. Welcome to my city. All roads lead home. Welcome to my city. Welcome to my city.
Well, there's another installment to the NHL franchise, NHL 19, with Subban from the Predators on the cover. Now, certainly one of the big features they added this year is the more in-depth career mode with the pond, which, like the pond ice rinks and things like that, which is really where ice hockey, if you think about it, got its roots, you know. And you know, they still play the Winter Classic every year, where they'll play a game outdoors. Really, that's one of the most entertaining games all year to see, from my opinion. But yeah, if I was going to purchase this title, it'd definitely be because you can play on a pond. But other than that, EA Sports is pretty notorious for little changes here and there when they put out a new title, and they still ask the AAA game price of $60 or however much it is now. If you get like the Legendary Edition with Madden games, sometimes it's like $80, which is ridiculous.
I agree with
What's
you
your take
there.
on this?
I agree. The thing is, though, for a yearly release, there's only so much development time you have. So I think the best thing you can do, just don't get it every year. Give it a few years gap. It's like Madden, you know? Madden, it's the same thing every year, but granted, these are two separate games, but not only, if you can tell from the trailer, some of what you saw, it's not really as polished as something like Madden is. And you just getting the same game every year and not much of new stuff. So something's got to give.
And I'll talk about this every time we talk about sports games. One of the things that really bothers me about sports video games is EA's exclusive license on pretty much everything. You know, well, they don't have it on hockey, but they have it on football. For a while, they had it on NASCAR until they got rid of it in 2010. But this limits the creativity that other people could have had. You think of people like Sega, ESPN. You know, those old 2K games that they have for NFL and stuff. Those games were revolutionary. They did things that EA would never think to do, and they actually cared about their games. You know, they put their heart and soul to it. You could tell because they're still replayable to this very day.
And I agree with the whole. I just feel like it's too manufactured in a sense. Like
very robotic.
It's not something. One of my favorite things looking forward in a video game is not knowing when the next one is coming.
Yeah.
So like knowing that a new one is just going to be coming out every single year, year after year, not very many changes, it doesn't get me as hyped about it as other series or video games would do.
But I will say this, in their past, there is that every few year title that will come out and it'll just completely change the way you look at that series. And you're like, yeah, I got to get that one. And then, you know, there'll be another gap of, you really, with EA Sports titles and 2K titles as well, you just got to look at the ratings and see what people are saying about it. That's what I do.
See, I think you're on the right track there, but it's also about perspective. Because if you've played a lot of those games, you can sort of tell how much of an improvement it is over time. But the problem is, it's a yearly franchise. We've already discussed that. But just seeing it year by year, it takes the fun out of everything. It's I
don't have a problem with sports being yearly.
I get that, but then just how much is it going to really sell you then? If you're just paying $60 for the same thing again.
I thought by now they would be doing like, here is the game, and then DLC will be the updated rosters. that'd be
I
a
feel like
that'd
that
be a
would
great
the
business
smart-
model.
Like, yeah, because one thing a lot of people look forward to
Yeah,
are DLCs.
like a constantly updated game.
Right,
You get
yeah.
the update patch, every year.
The only great thing I can say about it, I mean, I'm sure it's a great game from what I've played of it, but the thing is, gotta love that Predator's respect
Yeah,
right there.
definitely. I want to talk about Subban being on the cover. Really, a great thing for Nashville. Great thing for the Predators. They've been a franchise since 1998. Not once have they had a Predators player on the cover. And Peay Subban is a great example of how great our team is. And he's now an NHL superstar. He's a great personality as well. Really good guy. And African American hockey players, that's something that people don't really think about, and it's kind of been unprecedented to have a superstar of that caliber, and it's really great to have him on that big of a stage.
I agree. I think this is big for Nashville in the sense, what was it, 2 years ago we were in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We'll get there again.
against Pittsburgh. So I think that this is big, and basically don't take the Predators to be underrated in
Definitely,
any
yeah.
way.
They're
I
at the
feel
top
like
of the league right now.
people in the past have taken them as kind of a joke, just kind of the pass off kind of team, and now
No, that's the Florida Panthers.
now that we've
Got him.
proven, I would say, it's just revolutionary in its sense, and I'm excited to be from Tennessee, where we have one of our own.
Smashville. We have our own catchphrase and everything. It's awesome. Well, last but certainly not least, Haley's going to take it over to talk about our favorite web-slinging superhero, Spider-Man.
Thanks, Brandon. Marvel's Spider-Man is an open-world action-adventure game developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 4 based on the Marvel Comics superhero Spider-Man. Released worldwide on September 7th, 2018, it is the first licensed game developed by Insomniac. The game tells a new story about Spider-Man that is not tied to an existing comic book, video game, or film, and covers both the Peter Parker and Spider-Man aspects of the character. Spider-Man was well received upon release. Critics hailed it as one of the best superhero games ever made, praising its gameplay, particularly the combat and web-swinging mechanics, graphics, story, and design of New York City, while expressing criticism for a lack of innovation in its open world design. Take a look at the trailer now.
Rated T for teen.
Peter, it's time to get up.
All right, so as you know, I said this, it's published by Sony Interactive, exclusive, on PlayStation only. So how do you think that this helped or hurt them? Do you think this was a good move?
I think people saw it coming. Spider-Man's been associated with Sony for years now, with those movies in the past that some will go unmentioned, some will be noted as some of the GOATs, like Spider-Man 2, and yeah, you can contribute now.
Honestly, this game was a surprise for a lot of people, me especially, because we just pretty much, at the time where it was announced, we just got through with the Arkham franchise, and take that as you will, but then when Spider-Man showed up...
Is it finally over? Is Arkham over?
I mean, I hope so. When Spider-Man showed up, it was just like, wait, what is this? And it's being developed by Insomniac? Okay, you got my attention. And then more trailers kept coming out, and then I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to games that I'm excited for, I don't watch anything. I don't want to see anything. I want to be fully immersed when I get the game.
That's great.
And I want to enjoy it for what it is. And then when you got your hands on it, or at least when I did, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is
it. Right,
It
this is
looks so,
it.
It looks so
Yep.
beautiful.
Right.
It's the definitive Spider-Man game, I believe now. The way it looks.
like that game. This year, honestly, though, has been a good year for games, but Sony, in terms of exclusives, because of Spider-Man, God of War, and Detroit, this year has been great for them. Honestly, I feel like it helps them because here's the thing. There's a competition between two, Sony and Microsoft. There's Nintendo, but Nintendo's doing their own thing. Competition is a good thing. Sony, at least for this generation, is probably got the edge on exclusives. I mean, there's always going to be a Halo and Gears of War, but this is Spider-Man.
I can speak for sports fans. They have exclusive rights on MLB The Show, another one of their Sony exclusives. A lot of people prefer that as well. You know, so they really are on the right track with keeping things competitive, going their own way.
As someone who is mostly PlayStation, that's my preference. I think this is one of the best games that has come out in its existence. Just, I'm a huge fan of the open world concept, and I love that. And my favorite thing is just hidden details in a game that you're not expecting. So that it's not mentioned, and you don't really realize what's happening until you're experiencing it while you're playing the game. And it took me by surprise. Better than anticipated for sure. And it's crazy to think, you know, it was developed by Insomniac, the same people who developed Spyro the Dragon and Ratchet and Clank. Like those
doesn't
two
even go together.
Right, those two kinds of titles. And then comparing it now to Spider-Man, it's just like it's two different worlds, and it doesn't even seem possible.
I have a feeling they're going to stick to open world games from now on after the success of this one.
The only issues I really have with the game were the stealth segments and the open world design. Hear me out.
What about the open world design? Oh,
Hear me out here. Think about it. Spider-Man, it's set like 8 years into his career, right? He's in his prime.
Yeah.
So then
my
why
favorite
do you,
Spider-Man, not the beginning, the seasoned.
if he knows New York like the back of his hand, then how come the map's all blurred?
Ooh.
Ooh, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel like this is something that you want the players to experience. Maybe people are going in with an open mind. Maybe they've never played Spider-Man before, or a version of Spider-Man. This is a new experience for them. So you don't want to particularly go in openly, basically ruining everything. Not ruining it in a sense, making it good for everybody, pleasing to everybody. So not just, you know, the super fan or, you know, the novice fan. You have people, it's open to everybody. And that's just the type of person, superhero guy that Spider-Man is. It's just the, you know, superhero kind of feeling, and I think that's probably why they did the open world. There are kinks, I agree with that whole aspect, but
There's always room for a sequel.
Exactly.
That's
There's
where
room
sequels
for a
come in.
sequel, and nothing's going to be perfect on its, you know, something on this grand scale of things.
Hey, if you
So
can make a Spider-Man game where you can walk on the ground compared to Spider-Man 2000, where it was all yellow, anything's an improvement.
Yeah.
You would swing from the sky. Your webs couldn't catch the buildings.
Yeah, it couldn't. Yeah.
That was my childhood
It's
Spider-Man
just
game.
the
just throwing that in
clouds.
there.
You hold on to the clouds and hope that it's gonna turn out good. But I like it. The different mods of the suits, the mods you can add to the suits, the different trials, side missions. I feel like those aren't really looked at as much, the side missions, as much as the main storyline, because those help you get, you know, some of the suits and some of the mods.
Is there any recovering balloons for little kids? Like
They
Spider-Man
make
2?
a reference to that.
it.
Do they
It's
really?
the same thing with the pizza.
I need you to deliver these pizzas. Go!
Yeah.
No,
Deliver these pizzas.
Let's just say, no spoilers, They address that.
Okay.
You have to find it, but they address it.
I can't wait 10 years down the road when I can finally play this thing.
Down the road. No, if you're not one to spend on video games that are pre-order, if you have the means and any interest, I feel like this is the one to spend your money on, especially now at this point.
Say I'm buying a brand new PS4, this is the game I get, and I'll be all right. I'll be set for months.
Start with this. Yes.
Got you.
Yeah, it just the different, and I'm waiting for the DLCs already. You know, the game came out 2 weeks ago.
The game, yeah.
Almost 2 weeks ago.
Almost 2
On
weeks
Friday,
ago.
it'll be 2 weeks.
Now, is this open world all of Manhattan, or is it other islands as well?
No, just Manhattan.
Just
Just
Manhattan.
Manhattan, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even in Manhattan, it seems so open.
Oh,
It's
really?
so big.
Who would have guessed?
It's so big compared to going to different maps or something in a different game. It's
So
just
detailed as well. The high dynamic range that I can see from gameplay is just phenomenal.
There's just times where you're web swinging across the world and you're just going straight, and then you just all you see is just the other buildings and whatnot, and you're just like, wait, I can keep going.
Yeah,
and then
there's
you
no
make it
invisible
from
wall.
one side of the island to the other, and you're just like, this is a lot bigger than I thought it'd be.
right,
Like,
because it gives you
whoa.
like a little track of how far away you are from something in meters. So when you're like swinging back and forth, it's just like, whoa, this is a lot.
Gone are the days of invisible fences when it comes to open world gaming, it seems. Well, that was a great end to the show. That's all the time we have for today. Before we go, I'd like to thank Franklin for joining us once again, coming back on the crew. A huge welcome again to our new producer, Haleigh Smith, for pulling all this together and helping us continue on for another season. Also, thanks to our awesome crew behind the scenes, crew of students working behind the scenes, making this all possible. And finally, I want to thank our co-producer, Dr. Rob Barron, on helping Ben Goodman in the beginning make this show come to life, and Haleigh now as well. I'm looking forward to an awesome season of this show, and so until next time, let's go Peay!
You can help support Austin Peay students who don't have enough to eat by donating to the Save Our Students Food Pantry. The Save Our Students Food Pantry is looking for soup, pasta, canned meat, canned beans, peanut butter, and fruit. You can drop off your donations at the food pantry on Home Avenue. It's open Tuesdays through Friday, 8:30 until 4. For more information, call 221-1620. 221-1620. A campus reminder from Austin Peay.
Parked far, far away from your class? Well, you could walk the whole way, or you could use the Peay pickup. It's a free ride around campus for APSU students, faculty, and staff. You can ride the trolley from 7:30 in the morning until 4:30 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. For more information, go to apsu.edu/SGA. A campus and community reminder from the Voice of Austin Peay, Clarksville's 91.9 FM.